It's October 21st, 2020. Welcome back to Small Town Sports Central. Once again this week we are focusing on football with Week 7 action and then possible playoff scenarios after this week's games. Halstead played Wichita Collegiate on Friday night in a District 7 matchup. Special teams were the strong suit for the Dragons as they blocked one field goal, returned another kick with a very long return here. Just couldn't quite punch it in the end zone, however. Gets free, but just can't quite outrun the Spartan defender in this old MCAA matchup. And then Lakin Farmer with another spectacular play as he kicks the ball, but can't quite pick it up. That would have been 6 had he been able to get a clean field on that, unfortunately, for the Dragons. The Camp Galva Eagles played the Solomon Gorillas on Friday night and came away with a 66-0 victory. Braden Collins on the evening was the top performer as he had 4 rushing touchdowns for the Eagles as they look to wrap up an undefeated regular season with this week's game against the Lincoln Leopards in Lincoln.
Hello, this is Paul Clements in Haven, Kansas for this week's football report. The 4-2 Haven Wildcats played host to the 6-0 Hutch Trinity Celtics in a game that had major playoff implications. In what would become a close game, the Wildcats took the early advantage, going up 14-0 in the first quarter. The first score was by Darby Roper as he ran it for 43 yards for a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. Look what we said, Bernard.
This is,
Look what we said.
Uh-oh.
Look what we said.
Touchdown!
Yes, sir.
Look what we said.
Darby is hype. What?
And the second score was also by Darby Roper as he ran it for 7 yards for a touchdown. The 2-point conversion by Nathan Schmidt was good on the second time.
Let's get these 2 points back here, man.
Let's get these 2 points. Yep. 14-0.
Schmidt's getting in there. Yep.
Yes, sir.
14-0, man. Look at Tallman. Tallman and Darby just, oh yeah, they're hype. They're hype, man.
Hey, that was...
The second quarter had a slightly different outcome as Hutchinson got on the board twice in the second quarter. Number 4, Walt Gray ran it for a yard and got a touchdown there. The kick by Lucas Hammocky was good. And then at the end of the first half, a penalty gave Hutch an untimed play. They took advantage of that and scored a 31-yard field goal. The kick was good by number 13, Landon Gray. Coming out of the half, the third quarter saw the least amount of points scored by both teams. The Wildcats had the football at the shadow of their own goalposts. Nathan Schmidt ran it for negative yardage. However, a holding call in the end zone awarded Hutch Trinity with the safety. They got an extra 2 points. At the end of the third quarter, it was 14-12, Wildcats with the slim 2-point lead.
Oh no, safety.
The hold against the Wildcats in the end zone, which results in a safety.
With about 7 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in the game, number 2, Lucas Hammocky, made a pass to number 21, Andrew Bergmeyer. It was a short throw for a touchdown. That gave Hutchinson the late game lead. They were up 18-14. That is until 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in the game as Darby Roper ran for another 14-yard touchdown.
Darby Roper keep.
Uh-oh. This could be a touchdown.
This is a touchdown!
Wildcats!
Yes! Wow!
That's his third touchdown. The hat-trick for Roper.
The Wildcats win this one 20-18, handing Hutchinson their first loss on the season. Both teams will be in action on Friday as Haven goes to Sterling and Hutch Trinity hosts Hillsboro. Trinity will secure a home playoff game with a win, whereas Haven needs a victory and a Trinity loss. I am Paul Clements. Thank you very much and have a wonderful evening.
The following segment was written and recorded earlier this week. It may now contain some outdated information based on the current changing scenarios that are happening with the playoff scenarios. However, it could not have been completed without the help and the resources that K-Preps is. K-Preps is a great one-stop shop for all classification football in the state of Kansas. So if you have not gone there, please do. They do great work. So thank you to K-Preps. Area. We got teams in play in District 6, Smoky Valley and Southeast Saline, Halstead and Heston in District 7, and Nickerson in District 8. So first of all, we'll go ahead and start with District 7, which is the most congested out of all of them. Probably one of the toughest districts in the state as far as top to bottom talent-wise. As you might remember, Halstead did beat Heston in week 5, but that does not necessarily mean a whole lot at the moment how things are shaking out. Both Halstead and Heston need to win in order to keep their playoff hopes alive. Depending on how scores shake out, either one could end up in the playoffs and one will miss out. The other one missing out on playoffs in District 7 is Wichita Trinity, but it is a very tough district whenever you have the defending state champion Andale Indians in there. They will face District 7, or District 7 and 8 will play each other first round of the playoffs. So whoever gets that 4th spot will wind up traveling to Cheney to play the Cardinals in week 9. Okay. The other 2 districts on our half of the bracket are paired up. We have some interesting situations there. Southeast Saline and Scott City play each other in week 8 for what is a district championship game. Southeast Saline is second right now with a 2-0 record in the district. They've had some games canceled and called off and moved around. And Scott City is 3-0. So if Southeast Saline was to defeat Scott City, they would become district champions, and they would take on the 4 seed coming out of this district up here, which is District 5. Most likely going to be either Chapman or Concordia coming out of that district as the 4 seed. On the other end of it, going into, we have Smoky Valley sitting 4th, Goodland sitting 5th. Now, Goodland can get in if they win. However, Goodland is playing Colby, who's been a very good team so far this year, while Smoky Valley wraps up their regular season with Russell. So that's sort of where we are in 3A. In 2A, again, we have a all-local district, so 6 teams all in our area. Only one of them has been eliminated from playoff contention, and that is Lions. Otherwise, overall, everyone else is still technically alive. Hillsboro's clinched, Hutchinson Trinity is clinched. Haven and Sterling are the matchup in week 8 to keep an eye on. If the Black Bears are to pull out a victory, they're going to guarantee themselves a way into the playoffs. Marion, though, is still alive. I believe they just had their game with Lions called off, so they're going to wind up being, I don't know exactly how that's going to play out, but that's an interesting situation moving forward. In 1A, we got a couple fun things. Now, this is the entire west side of the bracket. There's only 2 districts because of the smaller number of teams in 1A 11-man. But they're saving the best for last because you have 2 district championship games in Inman hosts Smith Center on Friday night, and Conway Springs and Sedgwick play each other. Sedgwick is the last undefeated team on this side of the bracket, and Conway Springs is always a tough matchup for anybody because of their offense and everything like that. That's going to be a night and a game with 2 very contrasting styles. Sedgwick likes to throw the ball all over the place, score a lot of points, whereas Conway Springs, old school single wing, they're going to, ground and pound and all that stuff. So that's an interesting game they'll shape up. And then Inman and Smith Center is another one. The Teutons have really turned it around the last couple of years. A lot of talent, a lot of points. Heard nothing but good things about them. I have not got to see them play yet. But they host Smith Center, which again, ground and pound, they're going to come at you all the time, just like they do and like they always have done. Winners of those games, though, get byes for the first round of playoffs because of the low number of teams. So that's an interesting sort of situation coming into next week, where those teams are going to have the week off, 2 weeks to prepare for whoever they're going to get in that second regional round. So that's a nice incentive, I would say, for them moving forward. 8-man one's a bit interesting because we have teams on both sides of the bracket in our area. District 4, which includes Canton, Galva, and Little River, the undefeated Eagles are one game away from wrapping up the district outright and looking on to a week 9 matchup with whoever the 4 seed is out of this district up here, which includes Clifton Clyde, Washington County, Burlingame, Valley Falls, Doniphan West, and Maranatha. Out of that district, only Maranatha has been eliminated. So on the west side of the bracket, we have Mound Ridge and Gossel and Pretty Prairie from our area. This is a bit interesting because obviously Mound Ridge and Gossel are both east of Little River, but are on the west side of the bracket. It is what it is. Mound Ridge needs to win in order to assure themselves a place in the playoffs. Medicine Lodge is right on their heels with a -8 in the points difference, which if Medicine Lodge scores a big victory, that could then leapfrog them going into the playoffs. In 8-man 2, it looks like the Peabody Burns Warriors are going to sneak into the playoffs as a 4 seed out of District 6. They will be taking on District 5's number 1 seed, which I guess would be a pretty solid team. 8-man Division 2 is pretty loaded this year. Right now, Hutchinson Central Christian is on the outside looking in. That's what we got as far as playoff scenarios going into Week 9. Keep it right here for all of the area action as we look forward to Acacia playoffs. We're here. We've made it.